Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for attending tonight's EAP on education, skills and employment. Can I have apologies for absence, please, Ben?
We have apologies for absence from Councillor Philip Irwin.
Thank you. And I have had Councillor Ian Jelly has messaged me to say that he's stuck in traffic. So, yeah, thank you. Okay, the minutes of the meeting on the 30th of June, can I sign them as a true and accurate record? Yeah, perfect, thank you. And are there any declarations of interest? Perfect, thank you. So item 4 is the recommissioning of the holiday activities and food programme. Anne-Marie, I'll pass over to you for this. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Ben, I don't know whether Rory's joining us. Do you know? You're on mute, Ben.
Rory isn't coming to the meeting.
Okay, sorry, I didn't want to start Councillor Edwards and then Rory coming halfway through. Essentially, this is the holiday activity and food programme. It was previously commissioned by Public Health. The commission of the programme will now be picked up by the commissioning service as part of children's services. It is going to be commissioned in 2 lots, so that West and Northants have a separate lot in terms of the delivery of the programme, which will give us more flexibility should we decide over time that there are differences in how we want to approach the activity. Essentially, this is a programme that reaches out and targets children and young people who would ordinarily be in receipt of free school meals, to ensure that they're engaged in meaningful activity during the school holidays, and also to ensure that part of that programme means that those children are receiving are being fed essentially as part of that activity programme. Outcomes from the programme previously have been positive. It's been well received. We've seen an increase in the numbers in the programme over recent years, which is positive. And I think I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for that, Anne-Marie. And I have to say, from my own area, that I think it is well used and it's well supported. But we need to get out there a little bit more and perhaps get some of the rural areas involved more as well, and not just focus on the major towns within that. So yeah, superb. Are there any other Wendy?
I was just going to say, I presume schools locally are letting parents and carers know about this. They're going out in book bags and things, and on their newsletters.
Yeah, it's promoted through the head teacher's correspondence, Councillor Brackenbury, and also we're making sure that as many people are informing the children and families that need to know about it.
Thank you.
I think it is the schools that have that information as well, of which children have free school meals as well. So it's those that they can target those particular pupils. Are there any other questions? Lee?
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Just to say that I'm glad to see that we are putting in individual bids, if you like, or we're doing it separately to the West, because we do. It's important that we do have the flexibility to do what's right for our residents. Not that we wouldn't have done anyway, but it is. I think it makes sense to do these, to consider them separately, because they are separate areas. And it's just great to see that we're doing it again. And it's great to see the take-up. It'd be lovely if nobody had to use it. But if people have got to use it, we want to reach out, and so it's good to see that we're getting good usage.
Thank you, Lee. Leanne.
Just wondering how we support potentially those that are in need, so not in education. Are we going through multi-pronged attack? I know we say we're going through the schools predominantly, but hopefully we're utilising social services, foster care, that kind of network, to make sure we're getting into all avenues.
Yeah, that's right, Councillor Buckham. We're using social care network as well as our own support networks to ensure that the children who should know about this know about the programme.
Superb, thank you. Any other questions or comments? No, perfectly. So I think, Anne-Marie, if we can feed back to Rory as well, that I think, you know, it has been a good job, and long may it continue as well. That would be great. I know a lot of people and families have found it very beneficial. So thank you. Item 5 is the forward plan of executive items. Ben, please.
Okay. I'm just going to share my screen with you. Okay, so we've got 2 children's services items on the executive forward plan. First one is outcome of initial consultation for Alfred Street Junior and Tennyson Road Infant School. And you'll recall you looked at that on our last meeting on the 4th of July. Yeah. And you supported moving to the next stage. And then we have one further. I think we've got one further. Okay, I thought we've just got the one on there.
No, I think Ben, it is the recommissioning of the holiday funds that's on there.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Which is, I think, the next executive 25th of August, I think,
that's
isn't it?
Right.
Yes.
That's
yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the 2 that's on there. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So that's all there is to say on that item.
No, thank you, Ben. So item 6 is the forward list of items for education, skills and employment.
Okay, so for our next meeting, which is to be held on the 30th of August, we haven't got any specific individual items, but for the next meeting on 3rd of October, we've got an update on the educational psychologist service and an update on school improvement, and they're both items previously requested by the panel. And then we've got another couple of items scheduled for 22nd of November, Youth Justice Plan update and the virtual school head annual report.
Okay, I think we may need to move some of these forward to our next meeting. And what I'd quite like to do, that I see on there, is the send update. And I think actually we had a good report that went to Scrutiny Commission that actually we could use for EAP as well, to get more members involved than those that are not on the Scrutiny Commission. And I think we could use that. And that is something that's been previously requested as well. And I think, if I remember rightly, the Youth Justice Plan has been written already. So actually, if it's ready to go, because it does have to be submitted to executive, and I'm sure it's before November, actually. Anne-Marie, you're nodding your head, is that correct? Yeah. That actually, we could actually bring that to the August meeting as well, to discuss that ahead of that.
Yeah, just to note that the Youth Justice Plan is part of our council's policy framework. So you're correct that it needs to go to the executive, but the executive will then need to recommend it to full council for final approval.
Superb. But I'm sure that's before November, though, Ben, isn't it?
Oh yes, I don't disagree with that.
Yes. Yeah.
I was just saying in terms of the.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can see Anne-Marie's got a hand up.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I have got the Youth Justice Plan in my inbox, so it will be fine to come for discussion, Ben. And if you could invite Debbie Lloyd from the Children's Trust as well, because she's the responsible owner for that. And the other one I was going to say, I met with Kirsty Reid, who's doing the work on the family hubs this morning, and suggested that she contact you about EAP in September, but given there isn't one, I think if we could take an update on the Family Hub's progress, Councillor Edwards, also in the end of August, I think that would be helpful. So it may not be the full update that I was looking to in September, but certainly if we can put it on August and then put it on again, I think, Ben, if we could, in maybe November.
Yeah, no problem.
Superb. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Wendy.
I agree, Scott, that the report that came to scrutiny would be good to share with members of this EAP. But if it does come earlier, then it was in here. It's down for November. But if it does come earlier, given the good direction of travel in that area, could it come back to us later on so that we really get see the progress that's been made?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, my one-to-ones with Anne-Marie, she'll tell you every week we always talk about SEND as well. So, you know, there's not a week goes by that we don't discuss it. So I'm more than happy to bring another report back, maybe November or December time, to see hopefully the improvements within that from August.
Great, thank you.
Ben, sorry, Councillor Edwards, could we also add an update on early years in November, or October or November, actually, with whatever councillors would prefer? But I'm keen that we start to bring that onto this agenda so that colleagues, councillors can understand where we are with our early years, early childhood provision, I think, rather than early years specifically.
Perfect. If we can go with October for that, Ben, please, that would be good. Yep. Are there any other areas? Wendy, is yours a legacy hand or?
It is, yeah.
Okay, no, yeah. Are there any other areas that members would particularly like to look at? Leanne?
In terms of Children's Trust budget and annual report, will we look at stuff into the Children's Trust? I know it's not necessarily part of ours, but I'd hope as executive you're clearly linked into those kind of work. So is it something we can understand with you?
I would just say, in terms of the budget process, that is specifically assigned to scrutiny, and I do understand that the annual budget process for the Children's Trust will be looked at by scrutiny in the autumn.
Super. I think Wendy's got her hand up, so she may be able to answer that question.
Yeah, the Children's Trust do come to scrutiny, so they'll go to both Scrutiny Commission and Finance. Perfect. And they're happy to, you know, when we invite them, but I think it's 3 times a year.
Yeah,
they come. So they are down to come to scrutiny. So anyone's welcome to come and attend scrutiny.
Excellent. Leanne, was there a particular area of the Children's Trust apart from the budget that you wanted to look at, or?
I think it's such a blind spot to understand the width and breadth of it, the work they're doing, their outcomes, you know, what does it all look like? We do quite well getting reports from the rest of the council, but the Children's Trust is just a bit of an anomaly, and trying to find information is few and far between. So I'm glad to hear that scrutiny is looking at it, but I personally, I can't get my head around what's where and how things are working, and I'm taking an interest in it, so it's great.
No, absolutely, and I think, you know, I think the trust is such a huge kind of part of the children's services that absolutely you should take an interest. Leanne, absolutely right with that. Anne-Marie, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just recognising the request there about the trust, and where I don't disagree that it would be worthy of a conversation in the detail and the overview, Leanne, that you've just described. I think I have an appeal, and you can call me selfish if you want, but we are expecting the full Ofsted inspection any time from the beginning of September into October. So I think, were we to have a conversation here, it could, the timescales that we're talking about, it could well be mid-inspection, which wouldn't be great in many ways for our colleagues in the trust, and also what we wouldn't want to do publicly at that stage is make any bold statements or assumptions about where we are and what our progress has been whilst we've got the inspectorate with us or imminent. But I think in terms of that broader understanding, I think it's a reasonable and very sensible request. So if respectfully we could do that maybe towards the end of the autumn and towards the turn of the year, because I expect Ofsted will have done a full re-inspection at that point, and we'll know exactly where we are in terms of progress. So I'm happy to support that, though if colleagues would want to have a wider conversation, and Councillor Buckingham, if it's something that you want to pick up in the meeting that we have with Councillor Edwards and Councillor Addison, I'm happy to do that then, if that would assist, rather than make statements or assumptions publicly while we're waiting for the regulator.
Are you happy with that, Leanne? Yeah, perfect, excellent. Is there anything else anybody would like to see moving forward? No, okay. So that just leaves me to close the meeting now. It has been a very short meeting tonight, so I do thank you for this, but we do have another meeting at the end of the month as well. And of course, August is always predominantly quite a quiet month as well, with holidays and things as well. But thank you very much for coming along this evening, and I will see you all soon.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.